there's one more little quick thing I wanted to share with you guys. So last night in this conversation I was having with these women, one of them told me a story about there was, a friend or something like that was having some trouble with her kids, but everything was about how the husband wasn't doing this right and the husband wasn't doing that right and the husband wasn't doing this right. And finally my friend was like, you need to stop parenting your husband and start parenting your children. And I was thinking about that in how often we women, at least not all women, of course, not all at all, but how women will sometimes, moms, will kind of pick at their husbands about how they are parenting the baby or how they are taking care of the baby. And so one thing my mom said to me when I might have been pregnant, or it might have been right when my first daughter was born, she was itty bitty. And my mom said to me, she said, listen, don't tell your husband how to change a diaper. Don't look over his shoulder when he's preparing a bottle. Don't boss him around about all of that stuff. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. He loves the baby. He's not going to hurt the baby. He loves the baby. He's not going to hurt the baby, right? And I see a lot of women will be like, but if I don't tell him how to put the diaper on, there's a blowout. There's a diaper blowout, okay? So then they pick and they pick and they pick and they pick. And it's like, okay, hun, I know that if your husband changes the diaper wrong, that you might have to deal with a blowout. I know. I know that you want to look over his shoulder and tell him how to do this because I know there's a good reason for it. I know because there might be a short-term consequence to him doing it wrong. I feel you on this. I feel you on this, okay? I'm not saying you're not like a bad mom or a bad wife because you have the urge to control the way that your husband does these things, because there is a negative consequence to putting a diaper on wrong. There is. And you could always say before the guy changes it, just be like, oh, I just found out that, if we turn the diaper down at the back, or whatever, I don't know. We use cloth diapers, but, you could say something like, oh, I just, I saw this whole, this way of folding the diaper to prevent blowouts. What do you think about that? There's a way to talk about this stuff. You don't just have to be totally silent and let the guy fumble with the diaper. But then you got to let it go. You can't gatekeep. This is what we talk about with people in the more secular world talk about this. They're maternal gatekeeping. That's literally refusing to submit to your husband. Okay. So I don't know if people in the secular world are realizing that what the more Christian tradition, or specifically I think the Catholic Christian tradition, because it's a little bit less, because I think we're a little bit more interested in authority structure from this just place of organization, if that makes sense. It's more, it's for us, it's this just feels really practical, right? If you're bossing your husband around about these little things with the kids, he's not going to do anything to help you when they grow. He's just going to stop. He's just going to stop because he can't do anything right. And honestly, if he did the same thing to you, you wouldn't help him either. So if you came to work with your husband, let's say you had to help him with something at his office, or I don't know what your husband does for a living, but let's say you were trying to help him and everything you do is wrong. If he's like, that's not where that paper goes, this is not where this goes, and he's not managing it like a good teacher, he's not explaining it in a way that is respectful and makes sense. He's just kind of picking at you and looking over your shoulder while you're doing your work. You're not going to want to do work either. And there are men that do this, by the way. I know men that pick at their wives a lot. This is not, but those women hate doing anything in the house, because their husbands pick at them. So this isn't even, this is just this practical application, right? So don't boss him around about how to change a baby's diaper. You can show him the first time, then he can figure it out. He doesn't want that baby to blow poop everywhere. And you know what? If the baby does blow poop everywhere is less serious than a failed marriage. I repeat, poop everywhere, less serious than a failed marriage. We're talking long-term here. Adults, mature people think long-term. Long-term. What is your marriage going to look like when you're in your 90s? That's what we need to think about. Not, oh my goodness, your marriage isn't just a set of parenting, and marriage and family is not just a set of putting out fires. You got to have that long-term goal. The long-term goal is a healthy relationship with your children and with your husband, okay? And all of these little decisions you make will support that or hurt that. So picking, parenting your husband instead of parenting your children is going to backfire, and it's going to be hard for everyone. No one wants a broken family. And also nobody wants to be in a miserable family either. So anyway, okay, bye.